Andrew, you are not going to believe what happened to me today. I completely, utterly, undeniably froze, like a full-on deer-in-headlights moment. My brain just stopped.
Oh, Emma, that feeling, that absolute total blankness. I know it all too well, and honestly, so do millions of English learners. Welcome to SpeakCast English, everyone. The podcast where we understand exactly what you're going through because we've been there too. And today, we're talking about that dreaded freeze.
Dreaded is an understatement. I was in a meeting, a casual chat really, with a new colleague. She asked me about my weekend, something simple, right? And for some reason, instead of saying, "Oh, it was great, I went hiking," my mind just went silent. My mouth opened, but no words came out. It felt like my tongue was glued to the roof of my mouth. I just stared at her, probably looking incredibly awkward.
And what did she do? How did she react to that silence?
She probably thought I was rude or maybe just really boring. She had to rephrase the question very slowly. "So how was your weekend?" And then I managed to stammer out a few words, but the moment was gone. The connection was lost. It was just humiliating, Andrew. I speak English every day, it's my native language, but I still feel this pressure sometimes and I just crumble.
Emma, that is so incredibly common even for native speakers under pressure. But for English learners, especially those from Vietnam, it's amplified 100-fold. Let me tell you what you felt, that crumbling feeling. That's almost a daily experience for many of our listeners. It's not about your intelligence or your English level or even your confidence in general. It's often about a very specific set of cultural and psychological factors that make this freezing phenomenon so prevalent.
Really? I mean, I can understand a bit of shyness or maybe being nervous about making mistakes, but why is it such an asterisk big deal for Vietnamese learners specifically? What's going on in their heads when that happens?
That's a fantastic question, Emma, and it gets right to the heart of it. From my years of living in Vietnam, observing, teaching, and just being friends with so many incredible Vietnamese people, I've seen a pattern. It's often a combination of factors. First, there's a strong cultural emphasis on accuracy and perfection. In the Vietnamese education system, making a mistake, especially in public, can sometimes be associated with a loss of face or feeling embarrassed. It's not just a small error, it can feel like a public failure. So when someone is about to speak English, their brain isn't just thinking, "What's the right word?" It's also thinking, "Will this be perfect? Will I sound silly? Will others judge me?" That pressure alone can lock up the system.
Wow, loss of face, that's a strong phrase. So it's not just about getting the grammar wrong, it's about a deeper social anxiety?
Exactly. And then there's the internal translation. Our listeners, many of them, are brilliant thinkers in Vietnamese. So when they hear a question in English, their brain often does a lightning-fast translation into Vietnamese, formulates the perfect, most eloquent answer in Vietnamese, and then tries to translate that perfect Vietnamese answer back into English. By the time they've done all that, the moment has passed, the pressure has built, and the brain just goes, "Error 404, words not found." It's like trying to run two very demanding programs at once on an old computer. It just freezes.
Oh, I see. So it's not that they don't know the answer, it's that they're trying to process it through too many layers, and the fear of imperfection just jams the whole system. That makes so much sense. I used to think it was just a lack of vocabulary or grammar.
And that's what many people assume, Emma. But often it's a performance anxiety coupled with this complex internal process. I remember a student I had, a brilliant young woman named Lynn. She could write essays in English that were just beautiful, nuanced, perfectly structured. But in class, if I called on her, she would often just look down, her face would go red, and she'd whisper, "Em Kong Biet, I don't know." But I knew, she knew the answer. We'd talk after class and she'd explain it all perfectly. The pressure of the spotlight, the fear of not being perfect in that instant, it just shut her down.
That's heartbreaking, really. To have all that knowledge, all that ability, but to be unable to access it in the moment because of fear. So, what can we do, Andrew? How do we break through that freeze? It sounds like it's more than just learning new words.
It absolutely is, Emma. And that's why we're here today. We're not going to talk about grammar rules. We're going to talk about mindset shifts and practical, in-the-moment techniques. The first thing, and this might sound counterintuitive, is to embrace imperfection. I call this the broken English is better than no English mantra.
Broken English? Isn't that what we're trying to avoid?
Exactly, that's the mindset we need to shift. Our listeners, many of them, strive for absolute perfection, right? They want to sound exactly like a native speaker, perfectly articulate, no errors. And that's a beautiful goal, but it becomes a barrier when it prevents any communication at all. Think about it. If you're waiting for your English to be 100% perfect before you speak, you might never speak. But if you just get something out, even if it's a bit messy, even if you use the wrong tense or a slightly off word, you've communicated, and communication is the goal.
So the idea is to prioritize getting the message across over sounding perfect, but won't people judge me if my English is broken?
That's the fear, isn't it? The fear of judgment. But here's the thing, Emma. Most native speakers, when they hear someone speaking English as a second language, are incredibly appreciative that you're even trying. They're not listening for mistakes, they're listening for understanding. And often, a broken sentence that conveys the meaning is much more effective than a perfectly formed sentence that never gets spoken because of the freeze. Let me tell you about my friend Hung. Hung was a fantastic engineer, but his English speaking was very hesitant. He'd spend ages trying to formulate the perfect sentence in his head. One day, we were trying to explain a complex technical issue to an American client. Hung started to freeze as usual. He wanted to say, "The system's new algorithm is causing a memory leak when processing large data sets." But he couldn't remember algorithm or memory leak in that moment. He just went, computer, new brain, take too much, small brain, when many information.
Computer, new brain, take too much, small brain. That's surprisingly clear, actually.
Exactly. The client, initially confused, then paused and then said, "Oh, you mean the new software is using too much memory when handling big files?" Hung nodded vigorously, yes, that, and they understood. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't textbook, but the message got through. And after that, Hung started to relax. He realized that getting the core message across, even with simple words, was a victory.
That's such a great story. It really highlights that communication is the goal, not linguistic perfection. So for our listeners, how can they internalize this broken English is better than no English mantra? What's a phrase they can use to remind themselves?
A really powerful one is to simply tell yourself it's okay to make mistakes. Say it with me, Emma. Let's make this our first shadowing moment for our listeners. I'll say it slowly, then you, then all of us. It's okay to make mistakes.
It's okay to make mistakes.
Now you try it with us. 1, 2, 3. It's okay to make mistakes. Feel that? Just that simple affirmation can start to chip away at that fear. Because once you accept that imperfection is part of the process, the pressure to be perfect lessens and the words can start to flow.
I can definitely see how that would help. It's like taking a deep breath and telling yourself, it doesn't have to be perfect, just try. But what if the words still don't come? What if even after telling myself it's okay to make mistakes, I still just freeze up and can't think of anything to say?
Excellent follow-up, Emma, because that absolutely happens. Even when we've shifted our mindset, the brain can still seize up. That brings us to our second technique, which I call the filler word friend. This is about buying yourself time gracefully.
Filler words like and but don't those make you sound less confident?
Another common misconception. While overuse can be distracting, a strategic use of filler words is completely natural for native speakers. Think about it, Emma. You use them, I use them. When you're thinking, pausing, searching for the right word, what do you naturally say?
Well, sometimes I'll say, let me see, or, or well.
Exactly. Those are your filler word friends. They're not just random sounds. They are signals to the listener that you are still processing, still engaged, and that you haven't just shut down. They buy your brain precious seconds to formulate a thought without the awkward silence that often triggers the freeze response.
So instead of a blank stare, I can say, let me think about that for a moment. Or, that's an interesting question, and it doesn't sound rude.
Not at all. In fact, it often sounds more natural and polite than a sudden, abrupt silence. Imagine someone asks you a complex question and you just stare blankly. That can feel uncomfortable. But if you say, that's a good point, let me just gather my thoughts for a second, it shows engagement and thoughtfulness. It tells the other person, I'm listening, I'm processing, and I value your question enough to give it a proper answer. I had a student, Mai, who was terrified of answering impromptu questions in English. She'd freeze every single time. We practiced just using one simple phrase. Instead of trying to answer the question directly, she'd just say, well, that's a good question. And then, while she was saying, that's a good question, her brain had a few extra milliseconds to start formulating an answer. It completely changed her confidence. She wasn't just silent anymore. She was thinking aloud.
So it's like a verbal safety net. It gives you a moment to breathe and think without feeling the crushing pressure of immediate silence. That's actually really clever. I can see how that could be a game changer for someone who freezes.
It absolutely is. It's about creating a little buffer zone. Let's try a shadowing moment for this one. This phrase is super versatile. I'll say it, then you, then our listeners. Let me think about that for a moment.
Let me think about that for a moment.
Your turn. 1, 2, 3. Let me think about that for a moment. See how that feels? It's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of thoughtful engagement, and it's a powerful tool to prevent that brain freeze.
That's brilliant, Andrew. I can already imagine myself using that in those awkward silences. It gives you a little bit of control back, doesn't it? But what if I use my filler word friend and I still can't come up with an answer? What if my brain is just completely empty?
That's a valid concern, Emma, and it happens. Sometimes, even with our best efforts to buy time, the words just aren't there. And that leads us to our third technique, which is surprisingly effective, the question power-up.
Question power-up, what does that mean? Like asking a question back to the person?
Precisely. Instead of trying to formulate a complex answer when you're frozen, shift the focus back to the other person by asking a related question. This achieves several things. First, it immediately relieves the pressure on you to perform. Second, it shows you're engaged and listening. And third, it gives you more context or time to think while the other person is speaking.
But wouldn't that seem a bit evasive, or like I wasn't paying attention?
Again, that's a common fear, but it's usually unfounded if done correctly. You're not asking a random, unrelated question. You're asking for clarification, more detail, or expressing interest in their perspective. For example, if someone asks you, "What do you think about the new company policy?" and you're drawing a blank instead of freezing, you could say, "That's an interesting question. What are your initial thoughts on it?" Or, "Could you tell me a bit more about the specific changes you're referring to?"
Oh, I see. So it's not just deflecting, it's genuinely engaging with the topic, but from a different angle. It makes them talk and gives me time to formulate my own thoughts.
Exactly, it's a conversational baton pass. You're saying, "I'm interested, but I need a moment," or "I need more information to give a comprehensive answer." And it keeps the conversation flowing, which is the ultimate goal. I remember a student named Thou. She was very shy, and whenever she was asked for her opinion, she'd often just mumble or freeze. We practiced this. One day, a colleague asked her, "So Thou, what did you think of the presentation this morning?" She wanted to say, "It was quite detailed, but I found the section on market analysis a bit rushed." But in the moment, she couldn't get it out.
So what did she do? Did she use the question power-up?
She did. Instead of freezing, she took a breath and said, "That's a good question. What was your favorite part of the presentation?" Her colleague then started talking about his favorite section. And while he was speaking, Thou's brain had time to recall her thoughts, structure them. And when he finished, she was ready. She said, "Ah, yes, I agree. The opening was very strong. For me, I found the market analysis a bit rushed, and I would have liked more detail there." She didn't freeze. She participated fully.
That's incredible. It's like a secret weapon for conversational flow. It empowers you to stay in the conversation even when you feel like you're losing control.
It really is. It takes the pressure off of having to have an asterisk immediate perfect answer. It allows you to be thoughtful, to gather your thoughts, and to keep the interaction positive. It's about being proactive against the freeze, rather than passively waiting for it to pass.
So for this technique, what's a simple, versatile phrase our listeners can practice? Something they can grab onto in the moment?
A really good one is simply, "Could you tell me more about that?" It's polite, open-ended, and immediately shifts the speaking role. Let's do a quick shadowing moment for this one. Could you tell me more about that?
Could you tell me more about that?
Your turn. Say it with us. 1, 2, 3. Could you tell me more about that? Excellent. Practice that, internalize it, and have it ready in your mental toolkit. It's not about avoiding the question, it's about engaging more effectively.
Andrew, these are all so practical and insightful. I feel like these aren't just for English learners. They're useful for anyone who gets nervous in conversations. I mean, I definitely get that deer in headlights feeling sometimes, even as a native speaker.
Absolutely, Emma. That's the beauty of these techniques. They tap into universal human psychology, but they are particularly potent for our Vietnamese English learners because they address those specific cultural and linguistic hurdles we discussed. They empower you to take control when you feel like you're losing it.
So, if I had to pick one thing from today to try and implement this week, I think I'd focus on the filler word friend. I'm going to try to consciously use phrases like, let me think about that for a moment, or that's an interesting point, whenever I feel that little hesitation creeping in. I think it will help me avoid the awkward silence and give my brain a chance to catch up.
That's a fantastic choice, Emma. It's a great first step because it directly addresses the immediate silence that often triggers the full freeze. For our listeners, your homework challenge for this week is similar. Identify one situation where you typically freeze, whether it's in a work meeting, talking to a new person, or even ordering coffee. And then choose one of the techniques we discussed today, whether it's okay to make mistakes, using a filler word friend, or trying the question power-up, and consciously try to apply it, even just once.
Yes, just once. Don't aim for perfection, aim for progress. Even if it feels a little awkward at first, just try it.
Exactly. Remember, the goal isn't to eliminate all mistakes or awkwardness overnight. The goal is to break the pattern of freezing. It's to tell your brain, hey, we're not shutting down here, we're finding a way forward.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation, Andrew. I really feel like I understand the why behind the freeze much better now, and having these practical tools makes it feel less daunting. So, to recap, we talked about understanding why we freeze, the pressure for perfection, the internal translation, and then we talked about 3 powerful ways to break through it. First, embracing imperfection with the mantra, it's okay to make mistakes. Second, using filler word friends to buy yourself time like, let me think about that for a moment. And third, the question power-up to shift the focus and gather your thoughts, using phrases like, could you tell me more about that?
Beautifully summarized, Emma. Each of these techniques is a small but mighty step towards unlocking your voice and speaking English more freely.
Thank you so much, Andrew. This has been incredibly helpful.
My pleasure, Emma. And to all our amazing listeners out there, we really want to hear from you. We want to know what situation makes you freeze the most when speaking English. Share your experiences and what you plan to try in the comments below. Your stories inspire us and help other learners feel less alone.
Bye, everyone.
Alright, that's a wrap for today. Seriously though, which part of this felt most real to you?
Drop your answer in the comments. And if this helped you, like this video and subscribe. We post new episodes every single day.
This has been SpeakCast English. Thanks for listening, keep practicing, keep pushing, and we'll see you in the next one.